I'm LJ with today's adventure stop from Las Vegas. Today is a throwback video from May 2020. We're going to do a drive northbound and you can check out and see how empty and desolate the Las Vegas Strip was. Are you ready for today's adventure? Let's head out. And a little bit of housekeeping as always. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Do me a favor and subscribe down below and give this video a nice like and thumbs up because the YouTube algorithm loves it. Hey, thanks. So as we make this U-turn to go northbound on Las Vegas Boulevard, up on the right here is the former McCarran Airport. That's what it was named at the time. It's now been renamed to the Harry Reid Airport. And up on the left-hand side, we're about to pass the famous Welcome to Las Vegas sign. This was originally filmed in May 2020 when the world came to a standstill. And it was a strange year for a lot of people. You know, a lot of us were locked down in our houses, but for me, I was an essential worker, so I was out and about. I'm from Orange County, California, and so oftentimes to get away, to clear my mind, to kind of move on and move forward, I would oftentimes jump in the car and take a little road trip. So on today's road trip, I decided to get up early, around probably 3 o'clock in the morning, and I hit the road to go to Las Vegas. And I would drive around Las Vegas, hit up a couple restaurants, and a lot of these were to go, so you'd have to eat your meal out in your car or out in some field or a random parking lot or a park if you can find one. And I would enjoy my meal and then drive back home to Orange County. And I'd make that a regular thing. I would do that probably twice a month or so. But as you can see, traffic is super light. There's virtually no one up on the right hand side on the sidewalk. There's no one really walking around, walking about. It was an eerie place because all of the hotels, all the casinos were virtually empty. There was nobody in them. In fact, if you go on Apple Maps or Google Maps, you can do a satellite image and zoom in and you'll see these parking lots are empty. There's really no one in any of these parking lots. It's pretty impressive. And I know, some of you are thinking and are going to say, hey, but I saw the guy on the bike or the guy in the shorts walking along. For the most part, my drive northbound, I counted maybe 30 people from the south end of the strip all the way to the Strat. As a side note, if you notice those big concrete pillars we just passed on the right in the empty field there, that's where the original high roller was supposed to go, the big Ferris wheel. And I kind of wish I would have got more video footage of driving around Las Vegas and metropolitan areas because it was history. And to be honest, I don't know if we'll ever see anything like this ever again with the emptiness and desolation. It's kind of a weird place in time. And if you'll notice, as we're driving along, you'll see a lot of the Las Vegas Metro Police with their lights on are just sitting on the side of the road. And they were just there to keep things secure and safe. It was a weird, awkward time in history, and we just were unsure. That was probably the most fitting word, was the unsureness of the future. So if you can remember back around this time in 2020, it was June leading up to it. This is about the beginning of summertime where things are usually picking up and it's busy, super busy this time of year. But if you think about it, leading up to it, around March or so, that's when things really started to kind of close down. Schools were closed and kids were at home and workers were working from home or just temporarily on hold for the time being till they can figure out what was going to go on. But with me being an essential worker, I just kind of had to push along, and every day was the same pretty much. It was kind of like Groundhog's Day, where not every day was the same, but it virtually almost was. You kind of knew what to expect, whereas I like going in to my job knowing the unexpected, so you're always prepared in that sense. But for the type of work that I do, but it was a weird place, definitely. There's another one of those Metro PD units just sitting there with its lights on. That was their main job, is just to kind of sit there. There's another one, as you can see, right there on the right-hand side. For whatever reason, these construction cones were up, even though really no work was going on at the time. There's really no one around for the most part. Over here on the right-hand side, we're about to pass the Tropicana, and that was one of the hotels that opened up later in, I want to say, 2021. But some of the major resorts, they opened up almost 1 year after this. So up here on the right is the MGM Grand. And I remember they opened up in June 2020. That's when I stayed there. And it was really cheap. It was they had some smoking deals, to be honest. It was a great marketing strategy for a lot of these hotels to offer some smoking cheap rates. I stayed at the Vidara penthouse for like $200 a night. It was amazing. And again, as we continue to travel northbound on Las Vegas Boulevard, up on the left, the direct left, is the Excalibur. Behind that was the Luxor, and behind that was Mandalay Bay that we just passed. And coming up here on the left is New York, New York, and then the Park MGM. But as you can see, these pedestrian overpasses or walkways, those bridges, are usually full of people in June, this time of year. There's people selling waters, and there's the showgirls that take your photos with them for like $20 as a tip or whatever. It's usually sprawling. It's busy, but there's really no one around, as you can see here. And I don't know about you, but for me, the MGM Grand is one of my favorite hotels to stay at while I'm there. It used to say the City of Entertainment, and I don't really see it on their sign up there anymore. But it really is literally a city within itself. You know, you have like 4 Starbucks in there. You have a food court. There's tons of restaurants and entertainment, shows, the pool, the lazy river. It's one of my favorites by far. Over here on the right, you have the M&M store, Coca-Cola store, and the new Target that opened up. And over on the left, over next to the Park MGM, you have the T-Mobile Arena, where the Golden Knights play for hockey. Over here is the Ross Dress for Less. There's a lot of changes since everything kind of came back to life again here. Things still aren't 100% here in 2023. A lot of things did come back, but they're definitely not the same. Hopefully one day we'll get there. And this Hawaiian marketplace up here on the right, it's kind of a shame. That one kind of never really came back to life as well. So hopefully something can happen where it brings new life back into that little place, because they had some really cool little gifty souvenir shops. They were pretty awesome. Also, if you wanted to get your cheap beers and waters and stuff, that was the place to go if you were nearby here on the south end of the strip. It wasn't too far away from a walk. If you had to go to the MGM, you could definitely save $1 or $2. Over on the left, we just passed the Aria and the Cosmopolitan. The Miracle Mile shops. Have you ever seen it like this? But just take a look at the Planet Hollywood over here. There's nobody here. Usually there's people hanging out in the stairs. There's people walking up and down. There's people with drinks in their hands and having a lot of fun and good times. There's no one out here. Over on the left, the Bellagio. But as you can see, as we approach the Paris Hotel here, there's no one out. And a lot of these hotel properties, because they are private property, just didn't want anybody on their properties. But even on the sidewalks, I mean, technically a lot of the hotels own part of the sidewalk area here as well, but a lot of the security would chase you off, you know, unless you actually had a purpose and you're just kind of passing through. And there were very few places open to eat around here. You definitely have to go away from this area, and your food was only to go. So it was a very weird, awkward time to even get services and food in this area. Off to the left, you'll see 2 more Metro PD units just hanging out there with their lights on. And the CVS up here on the right, it's usually a happening place. It's busy. That's a thriving place. But in 2020, not a soul to be found. Over on the right here, you have the Bazaar shops in front of Bally's, and it's usually thriving as well. There's tons of people out and about. They're having hot dogs over at Dirt Dog, or they're having some pizza over at Giordano's. No one to be found. Here at the intersection of Las Vegas Boulevard and Flamingo, you'll find the Cromwell. Hey, who remembers the old Bill's Gambling Hall? That's where you used to be able to get the prime rib special for like $11.95, and it was like ridiculous. It was so good. You got a nice big thick cut of prime rib, baked potato, veggies, and it was like $11.95. It was so ridiculous. But those times definitely are gone, and here we are in 2023, and it's a new year, and things are hopefully looking better in the future here. Hey, speaking of which, that kind of brings back old memories too of what's now the Oyo Hotel, which is formerly Hooters, and before that was the San Remo Hotel over by the MGM next to the Tropicana. I can remember they used to have a $5.95 prime rib special, and it wasn't as good. It was kind of thin, but for $5.95 you couldn't beat it. And it came with the same. It came with like your choice of the prime rib and like your starch, which usually your potatoes, mashed potatoes or baked potato, and a little bit of veggies. I don't know if you can all remember that, but it was pretty ridiculous at $5.95 also. But again, those times are long gone. So this video is very interesting. You know, here we are almost 2.5, almost 3 years later, and look how things have definitely changed. And is it for the better? Is it for the worse? Hey, that's up to you to decide. But as we pass the link here, you can kind of look and see what things were like in 2020, where you couldn't really find anyone on the sidewalk. And a few months before that, it literally was a thriving city with people out and about and doing their business and just kind of carrying on and having a good time here in Las Vegas. But things have definitely changed. Things are opening back up, and it'd be kind of cool to look back, say 10 years from now, to see how this has really changed. A lot of these historical videos is kind of cool, especially like I look at some of these videos from like the 80s and 90s, and you're like, wow, Las Vegas Boulevard has definitely changed. So this might be one of those videos. And of course, as always, let's do a little housekeeping. If you like this video, give it a nice like and thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, subscribe down below. Even if it's 10 years from now, subscribe down below. And hey, thanks. So whether you've joined my channel recently or you've been in the long haul almost 4 years ago when I started making videos, so I'm LJ, this is my adventure stop, and each and every place that I go to is a new adventure, and that's why we call them stops. I like to show you the random places to eat, delicious places to eat. I tend to not be negative or focus on the negative, so oftentimes I'll do a food review, and if I don't like the food or if I don't like how the video came out, I just won't post it. So typically when I post something, it's usually something that I like, and I would hope that you enjoy those kind of things too. So whether it be unboxing a fireplace or unboxing a new Apple MacBook or whatever it may be, or driving to a new place or checking out some place to go and explore, or maybe a historical place or maybe a mini documentary. That's what this channel is. And so I thank each and every one of you for joining me, and I appreciate all the likes, subscribes, comments, and each and every one of you joining me on these weekly adventures. So with that said, I'm LJ with today's adventure stop, and that just about wraps up our drive northbound from 2020, a flashback from 2.5 years ago on the Las Vegas Strip. If you like this video again, give it a nice like and thumbs up, subscribe down below, and we'll see you on the next adventure. Bye everyone.